What's up, guys? If you're like me, when it came time for you to actually plop down your money into your debit card, as it were, to purchase your Steam Deck, you did so with some trepidation. This is not a cheap handheld console at all, and being that it is a handheld console, it's going around with you, right? You're moving it from place to place, so keeping this thing safe and protected and scratch-free, perhaps on these plastic sides, was probably something that you thought about. Well, just a few days ago, a company called JSAUX reached out to me and asked if I wanted to review a couple of their cases, and I have had both of them now for a couple of days, and I'm going to give you a review of both of these cases. So the first one that we have that we're going to look at is actually their silicone case, which they simply call a silicone protective case for the Steam Deck. You can kind of see there what it looks like in their imagery, but we're going to dive into it in person here in a moment. This case is very, very inexpensive, right? It is $16.99, so not too bad at all. Extra cushioning on all four corners is definitely a good thing to have. Protection from abrasions and scratches. Like I said, of course, that's not going to get through to it with this type of thing on. And then you've got the added tactility, the grips there on the side, which you may or may not like. We're going to talk about that here in a moment, but let's actually take a look at this thing in person. Let's throw it on the Steam Deck and I'll talk to you about what I think about it firsthand. So this is the silicone case itself, and I mean, it pretty much is what it is, right? It's silicone. It's a very simple, basic case. Now, my biggest problem with it is probably twofold. Number one, you can probably see that it is covered in small dog hairs. I have a couple of dogs, and it's not like my house is covered in dog hair, but silicone cases like this are kind of staticky, and any dog hair or whatever that is around, it's going to find them all, and it's going to pick them all up. So for me, it may sound crazy, but this almost disqualifies it from being used for me, just simply because that would drive me absolutely insane. The other part of it are actually the grips. Now, some people are probably going to like these. For me, this is a texture nightmare. If you're not sort of someone with maybe sensory issues like myself, probably not going to be a big deal to you, but I just really do not like the way that feels on my hand. Let's actually install the thing, though, and we'll see how it looks on the device. And installation is pretty simple. It's silicone, right? So it's pretty stretchy. You don't have to really try too hard to get it on, although there is a little bit of effort required to just stretch the thing around the device. There's the first side on. Let's flip it around and let's really stretch it around the back side. No real concern about tearing it or ripping it. It seems to go right back to its original shape quite well. And there you can see it is actually on the device. A couple of things I want to point out to you is the fact that it's just a little loose down here and up here, which that's going to happen just given the shape of the device. But the other cutouts, you know, they're all pretty good. The cutouts are where they need to be. They're accurate, and I think that they look pretty good. My one joystick up here is slightly misshapen, but that's not something that's really going to bother me. All your buttons on top are there. Notice all of the small dog hairs all over it. Your grips, your vents, all that stuff is cut out well. Even your SD card slot is accessible. So I would say, if your concern is simply just keeping this thing scratch-free and you don't want to spend a ton of money, with the concerns that I've pointed out to you there, the little bit of floppiness, the looseness, the texture, all of that stuff there, for that price, which again was only $16.99, I think it's pretty solid. Now, I'm not going to, drop test this thing because I paid a lot of money for this Steam Deck. But I can definitely see, because it's not super thick, it's not really thin either. But is it going to add a little bit of cushion? I think definitely. And in terms of scratches, well, yeah, you're definitely not going to get a scratch through something like this. Something horrible would have to happen. It'd have to literally cut through this to get to it. And it's quite durable. It's going to stretch a long ways before something's actually going to puncture it. So I don't think that's really a big concern either. So again, something on the inexpensive side to keep this thing safe, not add any functionality, simply keep it safe. $16.99, pretty good. So a couple of things to add before we move on from that case is that, one, it is absolutely compatible with the original factory carrying case. It adds a little bit of girth, but not so much that it doesn't fit in there. It fits in there totally fine. It is also totally compatible with JSAUX dock. Again, you're adding some girth, but it can still fit in that slot just fine. We'll have a video review for this awesome little thing coming up very shortly as well. Okay, so case number 2 is a little bit more premium, a little bit more expensive, and I would say a little bit better as well. Let's take a look at their website listing for this. This is the protective standing case for Steam Deck. And you can see here, this is a more of a proper case, and it has a kickstand there on the back as well. I'm not really sure about this particular use case for a kickstand, but I guess you could do this. I was thinking more along the lines of setting it up to have an external wireless controller should you want to do something like that. But at any rate, this thing is going to be $21.99, so still not very expensive either. Let's take a look at it now. So here is the actual case, and I can tell you that while it's not hard rubber, right, it does definitely have some flex in these bits. Back here, this is a less flexible kind of plastic. It definitely feels much more substantial than the silicone case, as you would expect it to. I like this weird see-through thing going on back here, which you'll get a better look at here in a moment. All your cutouts are present, and installation is really easy. You can basically just drop it in there and then slide it over the top and you're installed. That is so much better than a silicone case. And once it's on, it feels quite good. This kind of has a grippy texture to it, which is going to be hard to really communicate in this video, but it feels good without kind of triggering my sensory issues like the silicone one does. It doesn't add a ton of weight to it either. The kickstand feels pretty good. It actually kind of locks in place a little bit whenever you push it down. Pulling it out is relatively easy though, and it works fine. It totally supports this thing nice and stably. I think my only real complaints about it are twofold. One, the buttons up here, while they are totally fine in terms of their cutouts, they're down there pretty far. So if you're a, let's say a chubby fingered individual, getting to that power button is going to be a little bit difficult. Look how far in my finger is having to go to get to that power button or to these volume buttons. These are not as bad. But that's genuinely hard to reach. Like, you're going to have to really come around there to get to it. That is maybe a small gripe, but it's definitely a little bit of a problem. My other issue is that it's too big to go into their dock. It does not fit in their dock. It's too large for that. Now, good news is it does still fit in your case. Now, it is a little bit snug, but it actually totally still does fit inside the case. Of the two, this is the one that I much prefer. I really like that clear look there on the back. I love having the kickstand. I like the feel of it. It just adds a little bit of grippiness to it. And I think that is really going to protect the Steam Deck from a fall. Now, your corners up here are exposed where your shoulders are, but you know, that's kind of what's going to have to happen because you've got shoulder buttons there. But the rest of the device does feel very protected. And like I said, having that Nintendo Switch style kickstand would come in handy if you like to use an external controller, or I don't know, maybe you've like put Netflix or YouTube on here or something. Maybe you're one of those crazy people. I really do like this case, and for $21.99, man, it's a pretty good deal. My only problem is that I like this case a lot, but I like that dock better, and I don't want to have to take it out of the case to use the dock. So I'm left kind of in a little bit of an impasse there. But I can genuinely say that if the dock is not something you care about and you don't mind having to really stick your finger down in there to get to your power button, this is a really, really nice case that I would not hesitate to recommend to people. So there you go, guys. Thanks to JSAUX for sending these products out to me to review. Like I said, I'll have a review coming of their dock in the next couple of days or so. Still doing some testing, trying to schedule that in as well. Don't forget to subscribe. Links to both of these products in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.